force the wrong aspect on this video. Well, we'll see. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Abu Dhabi. We're at the Etihad First Class Lounge in Abu Dhabi. I have been here now for 10 hours, 8 hours. I've been here for 8 hours now, long layover, and so that's given me time to explore everything that's here. So I thought anyone who wants to join in and ask questions about flying first class, well, business class, my connecting flight is in first class, business class on Etihad, about their business class lounge and or their first class lounge, I thought I'd give you a chance to ask me, otherwise I'll just go ahead and give some of my impressions. So the lounge is nice. The lounge is nice, but it's limited. It's a lot more limited than I was expecting from a first class lounge, for certain. Especially because I have been in British Airways first class lounge and in the Concorde room, actually. For instance, there's supposed to be a spa. The spa is actually not operating. Unfortunately. Oh, it's okay. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. The steamer is not working. It's
Oh.
on the island.
Okay.
But they're so scared to do the iron of the clothes. Maybe they can damage the.
Oh, okay.
They try to close and open the steamer, but unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Well, it is what it is.
So sorry.
No, that's okay. I guess I can. Could they hang it in a shower and just turn the hot water on and let the wrinkles steam out?
I will check with
Okay. Yeah. So that, sorry about that. So I have a dress, a long linen dress, and this is a first class lounge, and so they do offer an ironing service. Ostensibly. Unfortunately, it seems that the steamer is broken. The steam part of the iron is broken, and they've tried to fix it, and it won't fix. And they're afraid to iron it without water, as they should be. I mean, it's linen. It won't iron without water. It will laugh at the heat of an iron without water to get those wrinkles out. So I just suggested that maybe they just do the most wasteful thing I can imagine, hang it in a shower, turn on the hot water, and let the steam cause the wrinkles to fall out of it. Oh, well, also on the flight here, in the business class flight, their mocha machine wasn't working, so I couldn't get any Arabic mocha coffee on an Arab airline flight. Yeah, that was highly disappointing, I have to say. So let's see. Services the lounge should offer, but isn't. They're supposed to have a full service spa. They have no spa. So apparently they can't do ironing either. They have no bedrooms, no even beds. They have a so-called resting room where they have chairs where you sit up, but you have an ottoman at your feet. So that's not exactly what I call good for sleeping. I ended up just kind of sleeping on this padded bench here. They did have blankets that they gave me, a pretty decent duvet, one of their business class duvets actually. And if you're joining, feel free to ask questions in the chat and I will get to them. Yeah. The dining, though, is excellent. The a la carte dining is really a first-class experience. It is very nice. The service staff is extremely warm and friendly, but also very deferential and very well trained. The food is delicious and it's plated up really elegantly. The service is as it should be on the table. And they have a really good menu of offerings, many curries. I love Indian curry, so I actually tried the lotus root kofta korma, and that was to die for. It was spicy enough to make my nose flow freely, but it was worth the pain. So yeah, I can definitely recommend the first class dining the dining in the Etihad First Class Lounge. And the drink selection is is good for alcohol, as always, dear viewer. Here we go. As always, the alcohol is good. The tea is crap. It is poor tea sweepings. It's the cheap stuff. It's not nice loose leaf. Like, if you go to the Air France business class lounge, they have some of the best tea in the world in their lounge. If you go to Delta's lounge, they have really good tea. The Centurion Lounge has good tea. So why in God's name does Etihad First Class Lounge have tea sweepings in bags? Etihad, please let me know in the comments why you don't have a good quality tea in your first class lounge. That being said, they will bring you a lovely pot of tea on a tray in porcelain with silver. So that is a nice touch. And they will serve you in your seat. You don't have to go to the dining area to get a pot of tea. So that's good. Yeah, but that's basically it. I'm not much otherwise seems to set this apart from some other business class lounges I've been in, especially South Asian business class lounges like Thai Airways and Cathay Pacific. Their business class lounges are amazing in terms of the services and extras they offer. They seem to have a couple of private rooms, which I guess are probably for people staying in the residence or VIP guests. This is the Middle East after all. Well, I'm going to go ahead and sign off and get some work done. If you're watching this in retrospect, let me know if you have any questions. Obviously, I'm going to be doing a full-scale review and vlog of my experience here in the lounge, but this was just a chance to test out the live function and see if anyone was actually on and paying attention and interested in asking any questions. For those who are just joining, if you have any questions about flying Etihad business class or first class, go ahead and let me know now, because I was actually about to sign off. This wasn't going to be a very long live stream. It was more a test to see about doing live streams in lounges. Ironically, this lounge feels like travel during COVID. Yeah, like there's almost no one else here. I'm it. And I wish I could say I like that. In many ways, I miss travel during COVID because the airports were very empty, the lounges were empty. Well, when the lounges were open at all, I guess. I don't miss the part of COVID where nothing was open. But, so the first class lounge, a big perk of the first class lounge is that, in fact, there is hardly anyone here. And there has been hardly anyone here all night. And I really like that a lot. Oh, really? Oh, I hate it. I hate that it won't let me go, because I'm using my phone. It won't let me. I've got to see if I can force YouTube to acknowledge that I've got it set to horizontal and I want it to film horizontal, not up and down. Oh. This is why I really wish I had a production team. Let me see, I can just move it. But I wanted it to be a horizontal video, not a vertical video. Well, that's annoying. No, that's good. I'll see if I can force it to be horizontal for the next one, because I don't want short form content. Short content form. Anyway, yeah, so, lounge is empty. There's not many people here, but the staff are very friendly, and they do periodically roam around and see if the guests who are here need anything. I will say when I arrived, it was a little odd. I walked in and there was no one to greet me, no one to show me around. And then I've noticed since then, guests who've shown up have actually been being given a tour, so I feel like I missed out on something by maybe showing out in a gap between flights, because I think they know which flights have first class seating on them, and so they're only kind of here when those flights are flying in and out. And my flight, I have a super long layover. In fact, my trip here was panicked because apparently at some point they changed my flight from 1:55 in the morning on the 27th to 5:55 p.m. on the 26th. And I checked my email. I never got any notification of that. At least it didn't reach my inbox. And so when I went to check in yesterday morning, I panicked because I realized I had 7 hours to finish packing and get to the airport, which is 300 miles away. So that was a bit of a panicked rush to make that happen. I did make it happen, despite all panics. So yeah, I did make it. Oh yeah, I am on my way to Penzic. For those who don't know, that's a 2-week medievalist event in Western Pennsylvania, and that's why I'm here, and that's why I have this bizarre 10-hour layover, 12-hour layover. It was only supposed to be a 5-hour layover, and honestly, in this lounge, that would have been enough. I, there's no spa. I mean, they do have a fitness room, but I'm still recovering from COVID, and so I'm not going to go and push my body by going to the fitness room. Yes, and I am super vaccinated, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't seem to matter. This new variant that's going around doesn't seem to care very much about whether you're vaccinated or not in terms of whether you contract it. I'm just attributing the fact that I'm not hospitalized to my dense vaccination record. Yeah. Yeah, so where was I? Yeah, so that means I got here at 10 o'clock last night when I don't think there were any first class flights scheduled to fly out of Abu Dhabi. So I think things were kind of low key. There, it was a bit like walking into a ghost town, I will say. Here in the first class lounge, but the sun is rising over the desert. The air quality here looks really terrible, and I'm not certain if that's dust or if that's actual pollutants. I'd have to actually go look at my AQI thing, but you can't actually see the sun rising through the fog, smog, dust. Not certain. It still has a bleak, stark beauty about it. You know, this airport has literally been plopped down in a desert. So, only 6 minutes late to Maso. Yeah, I know. It wasn't planned. I wasn't certain how I'd be feeling this morning after sleeping on my padded bench, but I'm doing okay. I'm about to get on a plane for 14 hours and 50 minutes, which will probably reduce down to 14 hours exactly, because they nearly always manage to boost and get across the ocean faster. So I can catch up on any sleep in the comfort of my first class seat there, which will hopefully be a very excellent experience. I will say that on the flight here, Etihad has upped its business class game. They actually had a really nice brand new mattress pads for the seats that actually did make a difference. It wasn't just a gesture towards turning a seat into a bed. It actually did add some padding and conformity to the joints of the seat, so that was nice. The surface was okay. It was not nearly as warm and friendly or automatically attentive as I've had on some of my recent other flights in long-haul business class. No one came around and checked if I needed any more water or tea. You know, they didn't refill my drink at all during dinner. Like, guys, this is an airplane. I'm literally, as we speak, just bring a water bottle around, maybe? Anyway, I know, hashtag Contessa World Problems, but you know, the itinerary I'm flying today, I checked it out. One way would have been $11,000 if I paid cash, which I didn't. God, no. I'm a points maven. I play the points game hard, real hard, like Olympic level hard. So no, I did not pay $11,000 for this flight, but other people did. And so you expect a certain something for that amount of money. You know what I mean? Yeah, you do. So are there any questions about traveling? Whether it's packing for medievalist events in 2 suitcases, a carry-on, personal bag, and a backpack, or you know, points bookings, or any questions specifically about Etihad's first class lounge, just let me know in the comments. I'm drinking this jasmine tea mostly medicinally. You can kind of hear my voice is still gravelly. Yeah, and I don't know if that's if I caught something from someone while in my panic to travel, something new, some new cold thing. God knows. Oh well, I'm gonna go live medievally for 2 weeks, so in tents, thankfully pavilions, so I guess that will mean in certain ways less close proximity and in other ways closer proximity, but there will be no real roof over our heads, so. Let's see. Any other adventures? Tip. If you are transferring at most airports in the world from one flight to another, and you are business class or first class, at the transfer security points, because nearly always you have to go through security again, make sure you look for the business class or first class security line, because those will be shorter and faster than the general population security lines. When I went up to transfer last night, there was a herd of humanity, of grumpy grumpy humanity at the transfer security points. There was a little sign that said first in business class left here. Well, the gate wasn't open, so I waved down the nearest employee and said, "Hey, where's the business class security?" And he sort of went, business class security? Oh, hold on, just open that up. And he led me down the line through a separate line towards where everyone else was waiting to feed into the security points. And he literally put up a barrier so that they had to go the other way and stopped everyone to literally create a business class line for us. And you know what the worst part is? He didn't check my boarding pass at all. He just assumed that because I was asking, I must be business class. In fact, I was. But I don't know. Maybe you should look at the tickets to make sure you're not just getting scammed by economy passengers who are trying to cut the line. I don't know. Anyway, I'm a little punch drunk. Ooh, a fighter pilot. Well, maybe it's different. The comment is hard to formulate any questions about a mode of transportation that scares me witless. How ironic that my childhood dream was to become a fighter pilot. Well, but it's different if you're driving the plane yourself, right? It's like, I know a lot of, especially men, actually most of the men in my life, in fact, hate riding in a car, loathe it. They will do anything to avoid being the passenger and anything to be the driver because they hate the sense of being out of control of the vehicle. And same people with motion sickness. If they're driving, they don't get motion sick. If they are riding, they pray for sweet death during the entire journey. So maybe it's the same thing. The difference between being a pilot and being a passenger is the control factor, maybe? I have to say I try not to think too hard about it when I'm in the air. The fact that there's 35,000 feet of air beneath me, between me and the ground. And then I just literally I focus on the stats. The stats are that you are much more likely to die in a car accident than you are in a plane wreck. So I go with that. Yeah. I actually feel safer if I'm in bigger planes. Because the smaller planes are much more turbulence prone. The bigger ones just basically you don't even feel that you're flying. You feel like you're in the air. You feel takeoff, you feel landing, and you just don't feel anything in between. Whereas in the smaller planes, oh yeah, you feel a lot of things in between. And they're also louder and much more obnoxious. Yeah, we were flying a Boeing 787 Dreamliner 10-10, which is a very nice plane. And it's the kind that actually has the windows in the bathrooms. And I know that sounds strange, but there's something nice about powdering one's nose and having a beautiful view out over the horizon. I know, it might seem strange, but there it is. It adds such a nice touch to the experience. And of course, the nice thing about the Boeing Dreamliner is that its humidity levels are much, much better. I think it's like maybe 2% more humidity or something like that. But that 2% more humidity makes a massive difference in whether you feel like death warmed over at the end of your flight or just death sort of, cool. Yeah, so I'm always happy to fly a Boeing Dreamliner, I have to say. Yeah, that's true. You can't get any more scared than witless, I guess. Or unless you're passed out, and then I guess the fear stops. So, bonus? Let's see. Yeah, otherwise travel has resumed its normal chaos. There's really, Incheon Airport was packed with people. The security lines were packed with people. That's another tip, guys, by the way. At airports with multiple security lines, it is absolutely worth the effort of just taking a tour down all of the entry points for each of the separate security lines and seeing which one has fewer people. And some airports even have like Incheon has a guide that will tell you what the wait is at each line. But don't trust that. necessarily trust your eyes, because yesterday when I was looking for the security line that I wanted to utilize, the sign said that security point 2 was going to be a 25-minute wait. Well, I walked all the way down there, and using my eyes, I could count the number of people waiting in line. There was 35 people for all of the security lines versus the hundreds at each of the other points that were only supposedly 15 minutes. And so I trusted my vision and picked the one that was visually shorter, and lo and behold, I got through in 5 minutes. So yeah, never just take the closest security line. Take a little walk, get a little exercise before your flight, and you know, reconnoiter the situation. Yeah, I know travel is a bit like waging war. It really is these days, especially with all of the security theater that doesn't make me feel a single bit safer. It just annoys all of us. Considering that in the United States they've done TSA tests, and they've literally put guns and knives and explosives in actual bags and put them through to see if the agents caught them, and the agents didn't catch them, but the agents did catch all of the funny little novelty decoys. So they've, the lighter that looks like a grenade, or the rubber knife, or, they caught those, but they didn't catch the actual weapons in like 95% of the cases. So, after a certain point, I feel like we just need to stop with the security theater, and especially the nonsense with the liquids. Some airports now are classifying spreads as liquids, so peanut butter, butter, those sorts of things. I mean, Frankfurt International Airport absolutely does. They confiscated my Kerrygold butter, my emergency travel butter, which is nonsense. Oh, thank you. I actually slept for most of it. Thank you, Giordano. Well, I won't see you this year, but maybe next year at Penzik. Have a great evening, day, whatever it is where you are. Yeah. I'm probably going to get work done during my layover. I actually need to finish editing the Air India first class video from May. Yeah, it hasn't been on my priority list because I don't actually make any income from my travel channel at all. And I've, just been so busy with so many other things. I mean, guys, you have to understand that each of these review videos, they take like 50 hours to put together, because I have to watch all the footage, I have to edit, I have to build a narrative, I have to do voiceovers, you have to lay in music. It's not the early days of YouTube almost 20 years ago, when you could just toss on any crap and people were happy with that. So each 20-minute flight video takes probably 50 hours of work easily, at a minimum, and that's not including the filming time. Yeah, so it's not something I can just slam together. Anyway, I think I'm going to call it here. If you're watching this in retrospect, I apologize that the aspect was horizontal. YouTube didn't give me any indication of that, and apparently if I use my phone, it's going to force it to be vertical no matter what I do. I'm going to have to check the settings and see if there's a way I can make YouTube do what I want it to do. Anyway, Tommaso, thank you for joining in, and I'll be doing some live streams. For those who know me for my medievalist content, I'll be doing some live streams from my Creative Contessa channel over the course of this medievalist event. We're going to be doing the Contessa's Clothing Clinic. We're probably going to do a setting up my encampment live stream, and yeah, so keep an eye on that channel for more, and I might do another live stream from here at some point as well. Okay, guys, until next time, may your travels be creative, and it was lovely to see you again, Tommaso. Ciao!